Hey, everybody. This is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. Today, we're going to show some love to the rhythm section. My guest today is Randy Cooke. I'll tell you how I met Randy. Derek Frank. I want to thank Derek for connecting us, actually. His last album was 11 years later, I believe, is the record, right?
Absolutely.
So I listened to the record, and it's like, it's a phenomenal record. If you haven't listened to Derek Frank's record 11 years later, please do. But the first thing I said to him was, dude, who is that guy playing drums? He is a beast. I mean, what a rhythm section you guys make. And then here we are. So Randy Cooke is and I since delved into his catalog, listened to more stuff. He's an amazing drummer. He's also a really nice guy and very funny and Canadian. And we haven't had a Canadian guy, so I don't want the Mounties after me. So it was that time. So we said, hey.
I will say sorry many times through this interview. And I say like a fuck of a lot.
You can say that, man. Let me give a little bit, a really short snippet of Randy's background. He's really had a tremendous career. He's an in-demand LA touring and session drummer, originally from Toronto. As I said, he's played and toured with artists, including previous show guests on here, Rik Emmett, Kim Mitchell, Derry Grehan. I mean, these are great, the best of the best. Stevens, Ian Thornley, also played with Ronnie Hawkins, Ringo Starr, Dave Stewart, Colin Hay, Ian Gillan from Deep Purple, Mick Jagger, Robbie Krieger, Hanz Zimmer, Alanis Morissette, Tom Morello, and literally hundreds of other people. I mean, I couldn't fit enough stars in here, man.
Well, just a disclaimer. Some of those people that I played with were for 45. I'm kidding, not 45 seconds, but some of them were like 3-day demo sessions. Some of them are 1-day demo sessions, but it's amazing it was amazing to meet them and hang out and play with them and all that.
Yeah,
shit.
man.
But I just like to say that some of those artists I've played decades with, and some I one day.
Tom Morello. How long was that?
That was just a demo session one day. We did 3 tracks. It was amazing. It was a brilliant singer that we worked with. And that was through a friend that is a singer guitar player from a Lucky Strike gig in town here. It's like, hey, you want to come up to, the Hollywood Hills and do a couple of demos? Like, yeah, let's do it. And Tom was a complete sweetheart,
That's all. I love your hat. Every drummer should have that hat. Why have I never seen it?
Yeah.
For those of you listening to audio, his hat says timing is everything.
Isn't it?
He's also recorded hundreds of television jingles and movie soundtracks, including stuff on Jay Leno, for Jay Leno, rather, David Letterman, my buddy Dave, Regis and Kelly. It was funny. We were downtown in the city one time, and we saw Kelly, like we were staying, she lives in Soho, I think. Man, she's like so tiny, the tiniest human being I've ever seen in my life.
Super skinny.
Oh my God, yeah. A&E Private Sessions, Larry King, CBS Early Show, The View, Martha Stewart, and the Grammys 50th year anniversary tribute to the Beatles. That was a pretty big thing.
That was unbelievable. One of the bucket list gigs.
That's so cool, man.
That was through Eurythmics. Yeah.
Well
and they hadn't played really together for a while,
That's pretty cool. You're playing with some heavy hitters, man. I mean, that you don't get that because you're a nice, you get it because you're a nice guy, but you got to pay your dues, man. And, I'm not the only one listening to you and saying, holy shit, this guy's awesome. He's been featured at the Montreal Drum Festival and the Ralph Angelillo International Drum Fest. He's appeared in articles in Drums, like loads of magazines, including Drums, which is a Canadian drumming magazine. He was a cover story and the centerfold, from what I understand, as well as Modern Drummer magazine. And he's been the recipient of approximately 35 or 40 gold, platinum, and multi-platinum awards for his playing in various situations. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I've been really looking forward to this. Thanks for being patient.
Amazing to be here. I've heard lots about you, Derek Frank, of course, our mutual buddy. He's like, this guy's amazing. His show is amazing. You got it. I'm like, but wait, it's called what? Guitar? What?
Everyone loves drums.
What the shit am I going to do with this?
It's funny. I had one time, I'm not going to say the name, but like 20% of my guests are not guitar players.
Right.
And I reached out to somebody who I wanted to have on the show, and he goes, do you know the name of your own show? And I said, yeah, but like 20% of my guests. He goes, do you not read your, and I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
I'm from New York. Just say, dude, I don't like your fucking show. I'd be fine with that, but don't
right.
Anyway, man, we are here. Let's talk to Randy Cooke. Your dad got you interested in drumming. He was a drummer in the Toronto Scottish Regiment Pipes and Drums, which is a very serious, those guys that do all that stuff are really regimented.
Yeah.
Was he a hobbyist or was he a professional? What was his?
He was a hobbyist, but he was like a badass snare drummer. Like his, I still to this day never went down that rabbit hole with pipe and drumming. Like, you know, it's a different world. It's literally, it's like, you know, going from, you know, rock to jazz. It's a different language. A lot of their drumming technique is swung. A lot of it's with like huge, massive like sticks, and the drum heads are like tight as shit.
Yeah.
And they're wearing skirts. What can I tell you? It's just, you know, as a young kid, I just didn't want to, I idolized him in that respect, but I didn't want to put on the kilt.
Yeah.
So I eventually, you know, got into marching snare, but I went the sort of, you know, the military corps way.
Yeah.
The drum and bugle corps as opposed to, but yeah, I mean, yeah, growing up, there were sticks around the house. There's I think I may have changed it recently, but I had a picture on my Facebook profile that was me at, I think 5 months old. And my dad had propped me up against his marching snare. I have sticks. I'm holding the sticks like actually pretty properly. My mom's actually propping me up by my back because I would just fall over. You know, at 5 months old, you can't even sit up on your own. But I've got the hat, the Toronto Scottish hat on.
Yeah.
So, you know, testament to the fact that I've been immersed in drumming out of the womb for sure.
What?
You know.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. We should both wear skirts and have like at NAM or something.
Right. And you know, the proper way to wear a kilt is only wear the kilt. We all know that.
Easy access.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man. As a kid, you must have been really good because I know you got a couple of very important music scholarships that allowed you to study at a much more intense level. One was the Imperial Order. Everything is so royal outside the United States. I mean,
holy shit. Say the whole thing.
The Imperial Order of the Daughters of the Empire.
IODE, Imperial Order, IODE. Yeah, IODE.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, and then the other one was for the Royal Conservatory of Music.
Yeah.
Talk about those two events and like really basically how they helped you develop musically and any other way.
Unbelievably crucial to my my musical upbringing. The first one that happened would have been actually they happened simultaneously. They happened around the same couple of years.
How old were you when this was going
on? 15.
Okay.
Now I started, just to clarify, my first actual really get into it drumming thing was when I was 12. I joined a drum and bugle corps called the Cadet Lancers of Etobicoke. So I was, you know, but it was like the baby drum corps. It wasn't like the crazy shit that you see guys doing now.
You're 12.
Right. Exactly. 12 years old.
Yeah, you're 12.
But I still traveled. We did parades. We did football games. We did all the same shit that you know, got it. We were just like the B. And so around that age, I would have been great. So grade 9 and grade 10 music class, my music teacher said, you should be taking drum lessons, private lessons. And I was in a sort of a medium income neighborhood in Toronto. I grew up in a rough part of town, sort of. And I both working parents, and they're doing their best, and I never wanted for anything, but you know, private lessons was, you know, that's another expense. And
how many kids in your family?
I'm only child.
Okay.
So, you know, the music teacher's like, you know what? I think I may be able to get your drum lessons paid for. Let me submit you know, an application to the Imperial Order of the Daughters of the Empire.
There you go.
It sounds so Darth Vader. And maybe we can get you, you know, a bursary or a grant. And that's cool. Exactly what he did. So that money was used for me to take private lessons with a local Toronto player named Dan Bodanis. He was teaching out of, at that time, you know, they were doing like, you had to actually audition
to get lessons,
take lessons with Dan.
Wow.
And it was, I mean, I guess I see it in my later years now. I can see why you might want to kind of screen the kinds of players you want to instruct. But I was pretty nervous. So, you know, you show up at a music store and into the basement you go, and they just tell you to play a jazz beat, play a rock beat, play, you know, anyways, it wasn't crazy or anything like that, but I ended up studying with him weekly, regularly. And that initial private instruction set the, you know,
that's awesome.
Basically the groundwork for all of my discipline and how I practice and what I think is important, all that blah, 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 all that jazz. So in high school, still maybe first year, second year, that same music teacher, he would have submitted me for a scholarship for the Royal Conservatory of Music.
Okay.
The interesting thing was the scholarship was for percussion. So
I
studied
not drums. Wow.
But drums was a part of it. Drums was just one piece of many things. So when you get a Royal Con scholarship for percussion, it was only a 1-year scholarship.
Okay.
And so during that year, I studied timpani, snare drum,
holy crap,
marimba, and drum set from 2 different teachers. The percussion side, the drum side was David Kent, who was like the Toronto Symphony Orchestra timpani player.
Okay.
And the other one was Beverly Johnson, who was the Toronto Symphony Orchestra. She was head of mallets. Like she was like a ninja at mallets. So it was interesting because as I was studying at the Royal Conservatory, every time I'd have a little bit of the drum lesson side, I was kind of more advanced on that end already from my private instruction with Dan.
Yeah.
So, but it's still, it was a different world from classical percussion and classical drum set. And you can imagine the types of things and the much more gentle approach to drum set that you would have as opposed to like whacking away and crashing away, you know. So the simultaneously within the 1 or 2 years, when I was about 15, I was able to get assistance.
That's great.
On both sides. So it was amazing, you know. And I didn't get my first drum set until I was 15.
But that's so cool because I don't know, man, I came from a similar background economically. When you grow up, that first of all, you have no choice. Like it's not, but like there's a certain sense of appreciation, gratitude.
Oh, I mean, I grew up in an apartment.
So did I.
I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment in inner city Toronto, and the only place for the drums to go was my bedroom.
Right.
So it was bed and drum kit.
There you go.
And you know, but you know, I'll cherish those memories because, and I mean, there's nothing like it, you know. So yeah, and 15, I got, you know, for Christmas I got this drum set, and then summer of 15 was when I joined my first band.
Okay, so how did you actually get in the business? When did you get in the business? And like, what was your first break or two?
Well, I think even that summer of starting to play, that band entered a contest in Toronto. The radio station runs a contest every year. They pick 10 bands. And we won. We were one of the 10 bands chosen. So at the age of 15, we had to get letters from the Liquor License Control Board of Ontario because we were playing clubs. So already age 15, age 16, I was getting, you know, thrown into the deep end. Like I was only allowed to walk in the club from the sidewalk to the stage. Yeah, right. And then back out. You couldn't stop at a table. You couldn't talk to somebody because there were drinks on the table. But those years with that band was called Phase 4. I was the only white kid in a 7-member black funk reggae band. And I like, that's awesome. That listen, as far as private lessons and conservatory, that band and those genres of music really, for me, other than playing in cover bands as well, really were the best music school I could have ever had. Yeah. Truly. So, so the business part started for me then. I started to figure out, oh, there's an agent and there's all that shit, and people get paid to play. And, you know, I think my first break of a an artist of notoriety was I had another drum teacher. I still think private lessons are paramount. School,
We'll cut you off one thing. This whole time, your parents were obviously pretty supportive of your passion. That's really nice.
Yeah. Thank God, because they could have easily said, "Shut the hell up." And
I mean, I say this a lot, but that's the number one characteristic of successful musicians is they had supportive parents, even if there was dysfunction in the home or
for sure
drugs, alcoholism, poverty.
Sure.
Supportive parents, number one thing they have in common.
For sure. In fact, my parents eventually got divorced when I was young, and still 1,000% support.
That's great.
Both of them. I remember getting that drum set at 15. My mom had bought it because she was in Toronto. My dad moved to Napanee, where Avril Lavigne is from, of all tiny Ontario towns. And I remember her having to call him and going, I'm getting these, are these okay? So that
that was cool.
They were still in cahoots with the master plan.
That's really nice. Yeah.
So I get this. I'm studying with Rik Emmett, another ridiculous player and session touring guy in Toronto. Still, I call him Uncle Rick. I have two Uncle Ricks. We're going to get to the other one later, Rik Emmett. But Rick and I have an amazing, very close relationship. And Rick recommended me, subbed me into a gig without auditioning. And I was 19, and it was with a blues artist, a world-renowned blues artist named Long John Baldry.
Oh, yeah, from England.
Yes, he was a British, very tall, low voice.
Yeah.
And so that was my first, I toured with Long John Baldry when I was 19.
In fact, didn't Jimmy Page play for him? Wasn't he one of his guitarists at one time?
Jimmy Page, Rod Stewart played harp in his band a little bit. I mean, I have so many stories from John. I have a couple of incredible stories about Elton John. Apparently, I mean, this could just be a wiener story. I didn't even know, but apparently John Baldry and Elton were traveling somewhere, and Elton hadn't even been to the point yet where he'd chosen his stage names. He'd finished.
Oh, he was still Reginald Dwight.
He had chosen Elton, but didn't have a last name. And apparently John said, "Why don't you use my first name?"
That's wild.
And who knows? Yeah. God knows if that's true. There's another story John told me once that they were at a party somewhere, and they're all hopped up, drunk and high, and whatever you would be drunk and high on in those days. And Elton had stuck his head into a
careful now,
a gas oven, like in the kitchen. They were just joking around, and he'd stuck his hand, and John's drunk and grabbing him by the back of the pants, pulling him out, and he's trying to turn the gas on. And apparently the track "Someone Saved My Life" tonight,
that's how that came about,
is based on that story. Again, this could be completely made up, but this is from the horse's mouth from John.
That's pretty cool, man. So you subbed on this gig with Long John Baldry for your coach, for your teacher, Rik Emmett.
Yes. Yeah. And then I played with him. I ended up playing with him for a couple of years.
And starting at 19.
Mm-hmm.
So that was when your first official touring life began. That was the
first, and boy, oh boy.
Wow. That's so cool, man. That's a really nice story.
Yeah.
That's a really nice story.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're out with him. Did you ever have, any of these situations? Did you know from the beginning you wanted to be a sideman, or did you not know, or you just taking it day by day? What was your?
I think because at 15 I joined that band, and by the way, that band, Phase Four, incredibly, was all my childhood closest friends.
That's nice.
Which was completely random, and I'll tell you, I'll go further. The bass player, the singer, there were 7 of them. All 5 out of the remaining 6, 5 of them and me were in the same Cub Scout pack when we were 10, led by my parents.
That's
the Cub leaders.
Almost like
that's
statistically impossible. Man.
That's how far we go back. So we were all
pretty wild.
10 years old, going, we'll do our best, dub, And then years later, we're in different high schools. We run into each other in the summer, and oh, I run into the bass player and goes, yeah, me and my brother, we have a band, and we still kept in touch, but we weren't that in touch,
yeah, they didn't have the internet or anything, or
so
phones
and I'm
text.
like, I just got a drum set for Christmas. I play drums, and I remember the singer was kind of doing both. He was singing and playing drums a little bit. And I'm like, but I could play drums. I want to play drums. And so that's how that started. And to this day, a couple of those band boys have gone on and had brilliant careers. Dean Jarvis was the MD for Nelly Furtado's entire career arc, and is now MD for another huge artist managed by the same manager. And Sterling, the singer, Sterling Jarvis, went into musical theater. We're talking, last I saw him a couple of years ago, he was one of the stars in the Book of Mormon.
Wow.
He's like doing those at that level.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
That's really random.
So that's my singer and my bass player.
Yeah, man. I need to stick around you. Maybe something will happen.
So yeah.
That's a good story, man. Very cool. So the sideman thing, did you?
So I think obviously every young musician's dream is to be in a band and live that dream. There's definitely no rhyme or reason to where you end up falling. Whatever you fall into. I have, obviously, for my life, it's turned much more sideman.
You've had a phenomenal career as a sideman. Are you kidding?
I've been in bands.
I'm not blowing smoke up your ass or anything, but like everybody should want to have a career. No, seriously, man, you've worked your ass off. You've had a great career, man.
That's a humbling statement. And I appreciate you saying that, but I think like many of us, we're still like, we're always like, yeah, but so far to go still, like,
school. Hey man, I have the school's never out for the pro.
Right.
Man, no matter what you do in your life, just as a human being, you're always trying to like be a better person or whatever.
Absolutely.
So that's just,
absolutely.
And I thank God I haven't ran into, but I had a couple of guys on the show. They were like, anyway, most people are normal like that. They're like, they just want to be better, no
we can talk about those people in our lives eventually. That's the under the hood section. We're going to save that for the under the hood section. I'm really looking forward to that one. The sideman thing. Here's what's amazing about and so attractive about being a side guy is there's nothing the same ever. Like every week, if you're lucky and you're fortunate enough to round your musicality a little bit, which enables you to play in a country act or a funk act or a rock act or whatever it is, life never gets boring. There's always a challenge. There's always the challenge as a musician to play to the genre, to play in context. You don't play a Neil Peart fill in a blues song. You don't play a blues fill in a funk tune. You don't bring the double pedal to a country gig. Like you kind of have to know, how to navigate those things. And I really think that just growing up as well, just playing in cover bands. I mean, at one point in Toronto, I had 4 cover band gigs a week, 4 residencies of different $100 a night, fucking playing everything from 70s classic rock to current Madonna. It didn't matter, but that was the gig. And I got to tell you, as a musician, doesn't matter what instrument you play, you have to kind of learn, oh shit, this is how a Zeppelin tune is played. And this is how, a Prince song is played. It's different. It's a different world. So, you get thrown into that and you learn. That's the other school that I always talk about. But
you're a very physical player when let me define what I mean. When I've watched a lot of videos of you playing, and when I say physical, you're not like hitting hard, like only, but there's a physicality about you that like is really important to your playing. Is that something deliberate, or am I like, is not true? And I'm just like seeing something that you just have like a very physical presence on the drums.
Thank you for saying that. I will honestly tell you out of the gate, zero intent. In fact, there's a downside to that. In the studio, you can't really tell live. Well, you can kind of tell that I'm articulating a little.
Yeah,
bit
that's a great word.
But in the studio, you can hear it sometimes. Like you solo some of the overhead mics, and you hear this just awful guttural groaning, like you hear this shit, and it's, thank God, it's never been that bad that they can't use a drum track that I play on, but it's there, and I don't even know I'm doing it. And I remember halfway through touring, you're doing 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and at the end of the week I would be hoarse, and I had zero idea why.
Interesting.
People are like, "Are you sick? Are you getting a cold?" I'm like, No, I don't know what's going on. And then the weekend, 2 days, a Monday and a Tuesday, you'd be just on a bus. Then my voice would get a little better. And I realized someone once told me, "Do you know how much you groan and growl and grunt and yell when you play?" And I'm like, I've no clue. But I can't stop it. I wish that I could.
It's all as an observer, it's awesome, because like, to me, that's like passion. I mean, I'm like, that's the guy I want on my team. I mean,
what?
It's fucking serious, man. He's like on this shit.
Some of my drumming heroes are smiling. Like, it's funny that the fucking grass is greener. That's all I'm going to say. Because when I see me, I'm horrified. And I'm like, why can't I be like this guy that's like just ripping and like smiling at people like, and he's playing in 17, 16.
Yeah, right.
So, like, I want that. I don't want to be playing a country groove that, anyways, No,
I like the scruffy guy. I like the, seriously, I think it's background, when you come from a scruffy background, you like a scruffy guy, I like the guy that's like, wants to tear it up personally.
I think your personality, your intensity as a human is going to translate. There's something amazing about some of the Nashville, like the older dudes in Nashville. They're like a little bigger, and they sit down and like it's like they're just gonna punch you, like but they have a confidence that, and it comes out in their playing. They sit on the drum kit and they kind of look like back straight, and they're big dudes. It's like they're
Greg
like,
you ever see Greg Morrow?
Greg Morrow is one of my favorite.
Yeah, he's so laid back. Yeah.
You talk about Kim Mitchell, one of my favorite Kim Mitchell records. Morrow is playing drums on that, man.
He's on Greg. He's on everything. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Obviously he's on everything, but there it is. But there's what we're talking about. There's another, you talk about, some of the gospel chops guys, and those guys like smiling, like, "Hey, isn't this great? Check out 5." It's like, it hurts my brain to think that I could be that laid back. I mean, I want that so badly, but anyways, yeah.
No, but I like,
not me.
When I'm looking at, I want the guy that's like, I want to feel his passion, because that's like, that's the guy I want. That's the guy I want, like in the, what's the word? That's the guy I want in the foxhole with me. Whether it's a musical foxhole or an actual foxhole, that's the guy.
Well, definitely not intentional, but thank you for
it's
for
awesome.
being on that side of it.
No, it's awesome to watch you play, man. I'm gonna bring up some artists that you've played with. If you could tell me, Randy, how you got the gig, or how'd you connect with them, and maybe a funny or cool story.
Yeah, sure.
Start with one of the coolest guys and just a great guitarist out of Canada, Rik Emmett.
Uncle Rick. I told you there's two Uncle Ricks.
I had him on the show. He was such a nice guy to talk to, man. He was I mean, I can't say now. Obviously, how much of a sweetheart he is, and how lovely guy,
intelligent and talented and funny that guy is. Rick, I started playing with Rick in 1989. Of course, I'm only 27, so I would have been. Yeah, whatever. So 89, Rick is fresh out of Triumph, and he's like raring to go, and he's written like an incredible group of songs, some of which kind of nod to his experiences with those boys, and they're all good now, but I know that there was some rough patches in that.
Yeah, it was pretty acrimonious.
But truth be told, he would probably remember more than me. I'm not exactly sure how I got that gig. I mean, I will tell you that in Toronto, it's a small town, and it doesn't take much to sort of everybody knew who each other were, and I'm sure I got recommended. I can't remember if I auditioned or not, but I don't think that I did. I have done many auditions, a bunch of which I've never gotten. Those are some funny stories. But the Rik Emmett thing started very early on out of his Triumph years, and it was unbelievable. I mean, he put together a band. It wasn't just a regular 4-piece rock band. He had a saxophone player, keyboard player, and 2 guitarists, him being one of them, a second guitar player. It was a big band, and one of our first gigs was in San Antonio, Texas, to 10,000 people in a parking lot. And it was ridiculous. Like for me, those were some of the first gigs where I was up against really big audiences,
Yeah.
But I was lucky. I got to record his first solo record.
Oh,
and then I went on to record, I'm going to say easily 4 or 5 more solo records with Rik.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. And that solo record, it's bizarre how the tiniest things from one gig can lead to another gig. But years later, it was one of the tracks on Rik Emmett's first solo record. It was called Drive Time. It was a shuffle. That song and that recording is the reason that I got the Ian Gillan gig.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm. And there was a guy in, should I just jump into that?
Yeah, jump in. Yeah. Well, let me ask you one more question about Rik. So you were with him for like 7 or 8 years.
Well, much longer than that. I mean, from 89 till almost 2000. I played
oh my
with Rik
God.
Yeah.
I'll send him this interview when it drops. I think he'll probably really enjoy that. That's really cool.
I miss him so much, man. Yeah.
That's cool.
We used to go, Rik had this infamous Christmas party every year at his house. And holy shit, me and the keyboard player in the band, Marty Anderson at the time, we every year would fuck with his presents. So here's what they would do White Elephant, right?
What is that?
So White Elephant is this Christmas present thing where everybody just gets a random present. You buy it. It's not to anybody.
Okay.
And you have a price point, so nothing over $20.
Okay.
So it can be a candle or a fucking board game or who cares?
Right.
And under the tree, if 50 people came, you're going to get 50 presents.
That's cool.
And then everybody sits around and they get numbers, pieces of paper with 1 to 50.
Okay.
Goes into a hat. Everybody picks out their number at the beginning. Now everybody's got a number, and number 1 picks the first present randomly. Number 2 has a choice. I can take your present that you've opened. You open the present. You go, oh, wow, I got a candle.
Okay.
I'm number 2. I can go, give me the candle.
Oh, or you could pick.
Or I can pick. If I take your candle,
cool.
you take another present and you open it. And it goes like that.
And there's alcohol involved. So I'm sure by like number 30, it's like complete clusterfuck.
Well, there were always coveted gifts that just kept getting taken from everybody. Right? You knew that if you were 50, the higher the number, the better, because you had the choice of every. Okay.
All right.
So
gotcha.
Me and Marty would go into the basement during the party because the present thing didn't happen until later in the night. We would go and just take random shit in his house, and he left all his wrapping paper and the tape in the basement. So we would wrap up. We would take like a Juno Award and wrap it up, and we would be just like subtly placing these like heirlooms, family, like a beautiful clock, and someone
like his flying V is in there or something.
Would open a present, and it's like a Juno Award. Like, oh my God, this is amazing! Like, and Rik would be like, oh Jesus, fuck, you can't have that. You can't have that, Randy. Oh,
that's great, man. That's a really good story, man. That's awesome.
He was a great sport. That's testament.
He seems like that, man. That's really cool. That's awesome. Okay, going to Ian Gillan now. Shit, that's a pretty good gig to get. Like starting with Rik Emmett's good, and then
Well, Ian came years later. Ian came when I had already moved to California. But it's interesting how those two are directly connected.
Yeah.
Because there was a dear friend named Andy Curran in Toronto, who's a
I know who that guy is.
Coney Hatch. He's the lead singer of Coney Hatch, right?
He's also like knows everybody in Canada. Well, yeah.
He worked for a management company that managed Rush and Van Halen. And
right.
So Andy is like,
in fact, he's the one who hooked me up with Rik. Through somebody else through him.
And this is how big-hearted Andy is. Andy is always the first one to go, I know a guy. You need this. I think I got you. I got the perfect guy for you. So Andy at the time in the management company that he was working for was managing a band that had a singer that had a solo career. The singer was managed by Andy. The band was managed by Andy, and the singer was managed by a guy named Michael Lee Jackson in Buffalo.
Okay.
Now he's going to be integral. Michael Jackson in Buffalo, and Andy in Toronto. They always had to talk to each other because Michael manages the singer and Andy manages the band.
Right.
Right. So they're talking one day, they're finished with their business regarding that singer. Hey, I want to book him on this tour. Do you have anything for the band? That kind of shit.
Yeah.
And end of the conversation, Michael Lee Jackson says, oh, you know what? And he says, how's it going? What are you up to? And he goes, well, it turns out Michael Lee Jackson isn't just wearing the managerial hat. He's a music lawyer and he plays guitar.
Okay.
And he's Ian Gillan's musical director.
Oh, he's Ian Gillan's guitar player and musical director.
He's Ian's guitar player, lawyer, manager. Like he's wearing all these hats, right? So he's another level. So Michael says to Andy, I've put this band together to tour Ian's first solo tour. At the end of which we're going to press a DVD. We're going to do a live DVD at the House of Blues in California. We're going to start in Buffalo. We're going to work our way across the country. I have everybody but a drummer. And Andy, God bless his heart, says, I got a guy for you. Call this dude. He's from Toronto, but he just moved to LA. I think he'd be perfect for it. So Michael Lee Jackson reaches out to me and says, okay, send me some MP3s. At that time, it wasn't send me your Instagram video.
Send me your YouTube. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
It was only audio. So I sent him maybe 4 or 5 tunes of artists that I thought were sort of rock based.
Like stuff with Rik, I'm assuming.
Rik Emmett, Lee Aaron. I'd done a bunch of Sass Jordan, Lee Aaron, Rik Emmett. And
wait a minute. Did you play with any chance George Bernhardt?
No.
Okay, because he wrote a song with Lee Aaron. Okay, anyway.
Oh, but I did 2 or 3 CDs with Lee Aaron. Did you? And years of touring.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, Lee Aaron touring came before Rik. Lee Aaron touring started in 87 for me.
Okay.
In Europe before Rik in 89.
Very cool.
So Michael gets these MP3s, just email, and the phone rings probably an hour later.
That's a great sign.
Sent him. And he goes, Randy, I heard the first 16 bars of Drive Time. If you want this gig, this is your gig.
How cool is that, man?
Like that was it. He's
That's
like, assuming that the budget is okay and all that, but if you want this, we would love to have you. All I needed was to hear that shuffle in Drive Time.
That's awesome, man.
He goes, I know that you're more than qualified to do this. And so the rest is history. We started rehearsing. Ian flies in. I think I don't know if he was living in the UK then. He might have been in Portugal by then, but he flies to Buffalo. We rehearse in the first venue. We get the venue for a bunch of days and we rehearse the band and then we take it on the road.
How long was that tour for?
Not long. To tour across the coast, it was probably 3 or 4 weeks, not more than a month to get across. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
And it ended up at the House of Blues on Sunset Boulevard. And although the live DVD, I believe, is from the House of Blues in Anaheim, maybe the second last gig, that last gig we had guest guitar players come on and play, contest winners play Smoke on the Water. So there was a great radio contest in every city. You could write in and pitch your best pitch to get on stage with us and play Smoke on the Water, which is, I can't
That's
imagine.
a lot of fun.
Guitar player that.
Yeah. So who were the guitar players on? It was Michael Lee Jackson was one of them.
Lee Jackson and Dean, a fellow named Dean from England. So we had Dean from the UK. We had Rodney on bass from Buffalo. We had an upstate New York guy on keys who played sax. Like, the band was unbelievable. The band was such a smoking band. And by the way, all of those live DVD tunes are cut up on my YouTube page. So you can go.
Oh, that's awesome.
See them. Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, that last gig, by the way, was in California at the House of Blues on Sunset. And that gig, interestingly enough, that last gig with Ian Gillan is where I met Michael Bradford, who was the guest guitar player. He didn't win the contest. He was actually an invited guest because he had produced the last Deep Purple CD. And I didn't know who he was, but he was going to come on and for a couple of tunes, including Smoke on the Water. It's a big black guy, right? And I was like, who's this guy? Like, he's wearing like all black clothing, black sunglasses. He's like the coolest looking dude. And just met him briefly in the dressing room beforehand. I don't really even know. I thought he was a bass player, which he was for Kid Rock.
Oh, okay.
He was that guy like in Kid Rock's live videos, jumping up and like, and so, but he's a multi-instrumentalist, keyboard player, producer, composer, writer, like just, you know, another ninja guy. He came on and played guitar and we exchanged numbers in that dressing room. He was Dave Stewart's musical director.
Holy shit, man. Wow.
I can domino I can connect dots between every bucket list gig I've ever had from a previous gig in a bizarre way. Yeah.
You know what? And I know how good that feels, because not in the same level of enthusiasm, but I could do the same thing with this show. I've often thought of like putting a mind map together that this guy turned me on to this, but it would just, it's like, I don't know the value of that, but it is pretty amazing, you know, the connections and that's, this business is very unique. It's not like the business world where you apply for, it's almost 100% of, you know, like,
networking.
Derek said, hey man, you know, you guys hook up, you know, and that's,
but you know, I don't think it's, you know, I know that that's a buzzword and it gets thrown around a lot, like networking.
Oh,
networking.
Network.
But there's a negative connotation to that word, and it's unsolicited. So
yeah.
Unsolicited networking isn't the kind of networking I think gets you anywhere. I think that, like, in other words, if someone says you got a network and you're going to go out and hand business cards out at NAMM, or you're going to go out and like, you're kind of going to kind of push yourself on people. That to me can only do damage to what you're. I think the golden rule of networking is how naturally networking can happen.
Yeah, the natural order of things.
There are, you know, that's why you hear about business deals getting cut on the golf course. That's why you hear about guys playing in a weekend hockey league and they end up forming a band together.
Right.
Like, I find that and these gigs that I'm connecting the dots for. Michael Bradford being in a dressing room and just ghosting, and Andy sitting in his office in Toronto going, I know a guy. And then, like, these things just happen. They happen because you already have certain relationships, you know, that kind of thing. I'm not saying that's the only way that networking occurs, but it is a huge, large part of the pie graph, I think, anyway.
I agree with you 100%. And I think it's important because, like, one thing I notice in this business, people take the time to consider your personal vibe in addition to a skill set.
For sure.
And they want and most people, my observation anyway, they're going to try to connect you with a person that you're going to fit with, you know, chemistry wise, you know, like, oh, like in your case, it's this guy's perfect. He's got a great I know the vibe of your band. Not only can he play the music, he's a fun hang. He's, he's conscientious, you're not going to have to pick him up off the floor. But sure. I think those considerations to me are important. Like, I want someone to consider that when they're thinking about me or thinking about maybe turning me on this. I want that because I want a better quality match. Yeah, I think so. And to have the aspiration to be touring and be on a tour bus, say, and playing, you're on stage for an hour. Yeah, that's really important. You're in the bus for 14. Like, you are in an enclosed area. If you've got claustrophobia, touring might not be for you because your bunk, literally, the ceiling to where you're sleeping is 8 inches above your nose. Yeah. In some situations. And the front lounge that fits 6 people, now 12 people are crunched up. And if you don't have if you haven't generated sort of the life skills to navigate personalities and try your best to stay in your lane and know your place, then it's going to be considered for sure when it comes down to situations like that. As it should be, because you're going to make everybody's life miserable if it's not. It has to be considered because you're living together, man. That's for sure. When I first started doing the interviews, people, the 3 things that determine if you take a gig are the music, the hang, and the money. And people said, there's got to be at least 2 out of the 3, or one super fucking compelling one out of the 3. Right. That's a great formula. Yeah. Yeah, and it really is, because like the hang, like you just said, you're performing an hour at 90 minutes, 2 hours, maybe sound check 2.5, whatever. If you're really, and then you got 22.5 hours or 22 hours or whatever. You got to be hanging out. And I think in the order. Later in life, when you're a little more established, you can pick and choose those 3. Yeah. But coming up, when you're one, it's that third one. The money thing is always. I still stress it today. Is the least important. It has to be. That's a mistake that a lot of younger guys make, girls make. They what should I charge for this? It's like, those words shouldn't come out of your mouth. If you're lucky enough that someone calls you, if you're fortunate enough that they want you to go do something, do it for whatever they're comfortable giving you. Just take it. Yeah, because that's going to get you farther quicker than any other attitude or any other formula, Because the same thing's going to happen to them that happened to you. They're going to meet that Michael Bradford. Yeah. Or Andy Curran, and they're going to get referred. But if they weren't there in the first, you got to be in traffic in the first place, man. Sure. You just no one's fucking calling you up on the phone. You got to be out there doing stuff, and then people recognize you and they say, "Oh, this person's good," or "This person's not good." So Michael Bradford, that's how it started. We met at that gig and exchanged numbers, and Michael had already had this beautiful studio at his home in Tarzana, and I can't remember offhand, but it was previously owned by the house was previously owned by a very famous actor, and the studio was owned by a famous musician. It's you run into that every day. But Michael was just calling me to do some demos. For Dave Stewart? No, this is for Michael. Oh, just for him. So this is before. So this is establishing a relationship. New relationship. Yeah. And so I would drive out to Tarzana. He already had a drum set up and mic'd, and that's like, how good is that? Yeah. And this went on for months until one day Michael just called up and said, "So I'm putting a band together for Dave Stewart, and so far it's me and you. You want to? You want to do that, right? Nice phone call. You'd be into that, right? Like." Yeah, I'd be into that. Yeah, twist my arm. Eurythmics, Dave Stewart. Yeah, pretty much. Let me think about that. Yes. I don't know how else. You know what, man? I just noticed there's something like really peaceful about those 3 drawings behind you, man. I'm like drawn to them. Those are famous photographs that the gal has chosen and picked out and framed. And this is her. It's amazing, right? You're noticing. It's like very peaceful, man. It's like the flow of her body is like. You need something like that in the lives that we lead. Like, at least I just go, oh God, okay. Yeah, man. It's like very chill.
So yeah, like and Michael just asked if I wanted to be a part of that project. And, you know, of course I was elated. And that is how, you know, playing with Dave and becoming Dave's drummer for Dave's projects is how I ended up playing with Ringo.
Because, okay, tell that story now, because I had a funny feeling with that.
That, you know, Dave, of course, is world-renowned writer, performer, producer, and he is a genius at bringing projects together. What he does too, amazingly, is, you know, he had a band once that had, you know, Damian Marley, Mick Jagger, Joss Stone, all of them in one band. Like, you know, he can make that call and
like so a Don Was kind of a guy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So he's, you know, he's wearing all those hats as a producer, as a writer, as a performer. He's part of one of the largest, most huge, you know, bands, you know, the Eurythmics. Yeah. So Dave was and is pals with Ringo and had co-written Ringo's solo album called Liverpool 8. And I think at the time Ringo just, for years prior and still years now, has his all-star band. And I think he just wanted a little bit of separation as far as the projects were in his life. He wanted to promote this record and go do TV and do some one-off shows to promote the record and have a different band. And Dave, basically, just out of pure luck, because I was in Dave's band, Dave's like, why don't you use my band? You know, let's use my band. And that's how we all got sort of slid sideways over into that situation. And that, you know,
good for you, man,
is,
that's awesome.
I mean, I can't, you know, we talk about bucket list gigs and the most surreal moments in your life, looking left on a double drumming stage and seeing, you know, the most iconic drumming hero, you know, it's, you know, there aren't words enough to really like lay it out.
Was that awkward in the beginning as far as like, you obviously don't want to overstep Ringo Starr, but, or was he like, said, hey, this is what we're looking for? Like, how did that work? Cause like, you know, you gotta be, I'm sure you're going to be like, obviously I know you're a super respectful guy,
considerate and respectful of his drumming space.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was just talking about this the other day about it's like a dance where there is going to be a leader and a follower.
Right.
And my, you know, if Ringo's standing in front of me at a microphone, it's different.
Right.
I'm drumming, but the minute two drummers sit down, you kind of need to, you know your place already or have that chat. And I didn't need to have the chat. I knew I'm accompanying, you know, a superstar. So I have big enough ears that as a guy's playing a drum beat, if he goes into a long 16th fill, I would be playing, I'd let him start that fill and I would follow in after, just at the tail end of the bar, another 16th fill. I never wanted to clash. If he goes for a big church fill, da 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 da, I'm not going to play a 16th fill. It'll be rhythmically terrible. It'll rub.
Yeah.
So I hear him playing. He goes for a triple fill. Da, 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 da. I would just catch in quickly enough to complement what he's playing.
Okay.
And I let him be the timekeeper.
So it was very organic, is what it sounds
very
like.
Organic. He would go 1, 2, 3, da, 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 and I'm in, and I'm basically, he's my metronome. And I got to tell you, my life is playing to metronomes, right? You know, as is all of ours now as a session players, you're just stuck to clicks. And that guy has the most solid natural time. It's uncanny how, like, you know, he's considered old school, right? He's from the old school where it's 2-inch tape and there's no metro, there's no click tracks.
Right, there's no click
tracks. Know, and some of those very amazing, you know, famous drummers from that era, they speed up and they slow down. You hear it in the recordings and it's organic and it's beautiful the way that they're interpreting their music. But that guy was a freight train. Like,
really,
he like literally, like, it was, that's what made it easy. It might have been difficult if he wasn't that good at that, but not not to mention he's one of the most musical players in terms of playing the most creative things for songs. But when it came down to just playing a drum beat and holding it down, he made it super easy to play to, because the 100% fear of any drummer playing with another drummer is, are you going to flam? Is it not going to sound? Is it not going to line up enough?
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a little of that naturally, but you don't want too much of that. And if a guy's speeding and you're trying to, it's a rhythmic instrument.
Yeah.
So it's you're entering an arena that could potentially be noisy as shit, But anyways, yeah, all of this to say, it was an unbelievable experience. We did tons of TV, a couple of key massive performances, 80,000 people downtown at Liverpool.
Really?
They were named City of Culture that year. So
wow.
It's amazing how those things lined up for him.
The record was called Liverpool 8. Liverpool 8. Yeah.
And we were on a rooftop playing. It was crazy. It was insane.
Were there times he would back off where he wants to sing or just, walk around or whatever, where you got to just hold down the whole fort?
There were a couple of tunes with a little help from my friends. Ringo stands up and sings.
Great song.
Yeah. So there were tunes where it was double drumming, and there were tunes that were him singing, him fronting. Yeah. I mean, I met him on stage at Soundcheck at the infamous venue in London, the Albert Hall.
Okay.
Like Royal Albert Hall. I mean, walking out like I talked to him on the phone once prior. Dave was at a studio I was working out of in the Valley here, and I was doing a demo for Dave's, and at one point we're in the control room and he goes, "Someone wants to talk to you." I was like, "Hello?" And it was Ringo Starr.
Is that funny?
And it was, yeah, maybe to
that's
you.
Pretty surreal though.
Fucking nerve-wracking to me. Yeah, it was just a small like hello and looking forward, and he was.
That's very nice though that he took the effort
sweetheart.
and time to. That says a lot about the guy.
A sweetheart, and then hanging out. We didn't do. I mean, on those gigs and on those, with all the travel, he always had an entourage. There was a lot of people. There were very few times that I was just one-on-one with him.
Right.
But there were a couple of moments like that, and he was funny and sarcastic. He's got that British sense of humor, man. It's like so good. Like, he's going to see the joke in a lot of things,
right.
And be sarcastic, and it's great. It's really great. It's a great dude.
That's great, man. What a nice gig. I'm so happy you got that, man. Really cool.
Thank you. Me too.
Stevens, I had him on the show, and you talk about a guy that's humble. Good Lord, man.
Totally.
He is such a down to earth. I mean, so down to earth.
And he's an insane player too.
Oh, he's incredibly talented, incredibly successful, and he's just a regular dude.
Have you had Pete Thorne on your show yet?
No, I have not.
You're gonna.
Okay.
Pete is also pals. Pete's played in some incredible touring acts, and Pete is the one who called me for that gig. It was for a gig for a NAMM performance, right? NAMM, the
Yep.
music conference every year in California. And of course, it was going to have a couple of like standard rock covers. And then Steve picked a tune. I can't remember the name of the tune offhand. And there's like an audience YouTube video of it floating around. But like some of the sections are like in 13. And it was like, I was like, holy shit, man, this is going to be hard. This song is like 8 minutes long with solos and fucking, and it's a little out of my comfort zone, a little bit. I clearly didn't grow up playing that like any sort of progressive, prog rock or fusion. I didn't really grow up playing that. But we fucking nailed it. I remember in rehearsal, Steve saying something like, "Why did I pick this song?" Because at one point we were all going, how do you count this section? Like, one is where, like, but it was pretty fucking cool, dude. Like, that was just a couple of rehearsals and then driving our asses out to Anaheim and doing the NAMM show. But we saw each other. We've run into each other briefly on festival lineups. where he's playing with Billy and stuff. And he's always a super down to earth, humble, friendly dude.
It's just incredibly like the dude's from Queens, and he's just like a regular like New York dude, just like, you know, going to work during the day, coming.
And he walks softly, but carries a big motherfucking stick. That guy straps on an axe, and it's like,
no, he's extremely talented, man.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Ian
Thornley, that guy is probably one of the most talented guys I've ever met, man. He's like, got some special gifts,
and a gifted singer and writer, and it's just stupid talented.
Yeah.
Once again, Andy Kern in Toronto recommended me. You know, it was probably really just luck of the draw because of budgets and stuff, and not being able to fly his whole band out, or, you know, to put people up in hotels and pay for flights, and it just made sense. He brought his bass player out, and he just wanted to pick up a drummer out here, and Andy recommended me. And we went and rehearsed in North Hollywood for about 3 days. I think we had 3 rehearsals, and then we did a show for Sur Guitars for NAMM. And that show, all those tunes are online, and they did an amazing job of filming and recording it. So the audio and video production quality is unbelievable. It's I'm super proud of that. And yeah, I mean, a couple of the tunes were Big Wreck tunes, and some were solo.
Such a great writer, man.
I mean, I literally can. The best thing to say about that musical situation is go check it out online and put headphones on. It's unbelievable. His playing and his singing and those songs, like it's his own genre almost. It's crazy. It's so beautiful. Like,
it's just Ian Thornley at what year was that? Do you know?
The Sur
SUHR.
Yeah. Here,
watch. Yeah, well, he's a Sur guitar. He's an artist, Sur artist. He's got his own couple of guitars from them, I think, actually.
Yeah, it's easily found.
Okay.
NAMM in. Yeah, there's
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out. I'd love to see you play with him,
man. Yeah, I just found it. So it's 2016.
Great, thank you.
And I think we did 5, 6, maybe 7 tunes, and they're all chopped up, and I think they may be on my YouTube channel. I think they are.
Right.
I think I have them.
Is your YouTube is just Randy Cooke?
It's just Randy Cooke.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Any other, tell me about some gigs that you'd like to talk about that like meant something to you, or were special, or really funny, or really horrible, whatever you'd like.
Well, there's a funny one with, because again of Mike Bradford and Dave Stewart and that camp, I got to go do 3 days of demos with Mick Jagger at Mike's studio in Tarzana. And okay, here we go again of like being, you know, a little nervous. I'm not gonna tell everybody. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But you know, you're meeting someone who you literally grew up seeing and hearing your whole life.
Yeah.
You know, just an icon basically. And shows up, as nice as can be, real cordial. I remember it was just when the first iPhone was out, and he was having a little difficulty navigating something, and I got to help him, like, you know, this is how you get here and what setting you do. And it's kind of like, man, I'm just helping Mick Jagger with an iPhone. But as those 3 days rolled out, there was a moment where Mick was out on the floor doing vocals. We were just sitting in the control room listening. We'd already done our bed tracks, and Michael had to pop into his home for a minute to do something. He go, I'll be back in 5 minutes. So he leaves, and Mick is standing out in the live room at a microphone, kind of like, you know, in the middle of, they were getting some vocal takes. And a couple of minutes went by, and Dave, you know, Mick's fine, but I think Dave was getting a little antsy. He's like, Randy, do you know how to work that Pro Tools? You know how to work this? I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay, he's ready. Can you punch him in at
Holy, so you got to record Mick Jagger on Pro Tools.
Get on a thing. I could feel my hand shaking by the space. I think it was number 3, right, on an extended keypad that puts you into record. So I hit the talk back. Hey, Mick, okay, you ready? Yeah. Okay. And then hit the space bar to make to do the pre-roll, and my fingers over the 3 key as it's coming up, and I got to punch him in like he's already done a vocal. And I did that a couple of times successfully. Mike, in my head, it felt like Mike was not there for an hour. I think Mike literally was gone for 2 minutes. I literally think he literally stepped out and came back in. And as soon as he walked in, I was like, okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Woo. So,
wow.
So I got to punch vocals for 1 minute at one point during that session.
What session was it? Was that just stuff Mick was demoing, or like was it just ultimately end on a record?
Never. Yeah. Okay. Like so many of these, I mean, it's beautiful that you can stockpile, sure. And talk to any singer, songwriter, any writer. 90% of some amazing shit is sitting on hard drives or on tape. It was just 3 days of working out demos that I think Dave and Mick had written together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's nice, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. Any other gigs you want to talk about?
I think a cool one was playing with Sass Jordan at the SARS Festival in Toronto. A kind of a small audience, 450,000 people.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And that's on
50,000 people.
Yeah. I think it's the largest ticketed event in it might be, I could be wrong, but it's one of, if not one of the largest ticketed events in the history of concerts. Like, because when I say ticketed event, I don't mean largest attended musical event that's free. I think for the benefit, they charged, I think it was across the board $10. And for $10, you could see in one day, the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, Justin Timberlake, oh my God, the lineup was ridiculous. Isley Brothers, and then a bunch of Canadian,
Cooke. Do you know those guys?
Of course. Yeah, man. I wish Cooke was together back then. But I played that gig with Sass Jordan, and in the band for that gig was Jeff Healey, my good friend.
Oh, wow.
And Stevie Salas, still my good friend.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's online. You can go find that online. So it's an amazing couple of, I think we did 3 tunes,
Wow. That's, it was so sad that, Jeff Healey passed at such a young age. He was such a, forget about the fact that the guy was blind.
Yeah.
That he could play like that. I mean, just his talent was enormous. Then you find out he's blind. It's like, how is that even possible? I mean,
I go back with Jeff. I mean, Jeff, hanging around, inner city Toronto, Parkdale. We used to do a jam at a bar called Branco's.
My God! So the
dude's name was Branco, clearly, and he was like a European guy, crusty old dude, ran the bar, and I think music was just an annoyance for him. Like, it's like he knew that the young kids he could get them into drink, right?
Right. Yeah.
And we did a jam every Sunday. I was in the house band, and it was headed up by Tony Springer. Tony Springer, infamous in Toronto and in Canada for having the best tribute to Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
Gig ever. Tony actually, in his own right, has a little history with David Bowie. He got picked to play with David Bowie at one point.
That's wild.
So Tony was this unreal, unbelievable guitar player, had Hendrix, kind of looked like Hendrix, sounds like Hendrix when he sings. He went on to have a great solo career in Canada. But Tony ran this jam every Sunday, and Jeff would come out and sit in the audience. He'd bring his guitar, and Tony would get him up, and they were good friends. We're all good friends. And I never forget, Jeff, when he got excited, like we got really into a song, he would actually stand up with his guitar. He played it on his lap, so he didn't have a strap. So he was able to stand up and play the shit that he played while pressing that instrument against his body to hold it up. Wow. But the funny thing was, Jeff being blind, he didn't know where the edge of the stage was. So God. There would be Tony. Tony would strap on a bass guitar to let Jeff play guitar, and Tony would be plowing through bass, but he would be fingering bass chords and holding Jeff by the back of his belt loop.
Oh man! So he didn't kill himself. Yeah.
To make sure the stage was only maybe a foot off the ground, but he just didn't want Jeff on. But I'll never forget how sweet and loving that was, though, because here was Jeff just ripping solos, and Tony trying to play bass in a blues tune with his left hand and holding onto the back of Jeff's pants so he wouldn't tip over on in the end. But,
that's wild. Now Stevie Salas is not a Canadian guy.
No. But Stevie has had musically directed. He was the MD, I think, for Sass Jordan. I think Stevie. Okay. I'm pretty sure he was Rod Stewart's MD at one point. I mean,
he was.
Stevie's another badass that was in that camp through Sass Jordan, and Stevie was the one who sort of MD'd that gig.
Okay.
So he cracked the whip at rehearsals. He talked about arrangements and how we were going to do endings and all that. So it was really good. Like it's awesome to work with him.
I had him on the show. He must be very good at that because he's been MD at many of his gigs. He seems to be MD at a lot of his gigs. So he must, be good at rounding everything up and taking the responsibility for it.
I did. Cool. I mean, it's funny. Talk about Jeff and Long John Baldry. There have been I've been lucky to play a lot of gigs with like infamous blues guys, like amazing, crazy, badass blues players. I did a blues cruise once with Joe Bonamassa.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was really fun. We did a bunch of rehearsals here in North Hollywood, again at Third Encore. And there again, this was, probably about, he was already like a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
But now he's a super fucking big deal.
Yeah. Was there any chance, was there a guitar player from England on that cruise called Les Davidson? Do you remember that?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I do remember being on that cruise and meeting the drummer for the Time.
Morris Day and the Time. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, and having a chat with him. It's but anyways, another one of my because I grew up in a funk band, of course I idolize him. But anyways, that was pretty fun. I mean, Joe is
top knee-jerk reaction. And if you talked about it already, we could skip it. Top 3 musical experiences.
Top 3. We've mentioned a couple already. Definitely double drumming with Ringo.
Right.
Playing that Sass gig for 450,000 people. That looking out and seeing people for as far as you can see, like literally the horizon, it's just people and then sky. I mean it's 180. So the audience. So
it was all around. Was it a little overwhelming at all, but only for the sheer volume of people?
Well, sure. It's overwhelming on that respect. It's kind of surreal because you're looking out and now you're not really connecting.
Yeah.
So much about performing is connecting with an audience, right? Like whether it doesn't matter if you're playing to a festival crowd, you can still see the first 3 rows. But on stages that big and being a drummer, you're the farthest back, people the farthest away. It's just kind of like a sea of undetermined faces, like you can't really. So it's a bit disconnected a little bit.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean,
so you're really drawing the energy from the guys on stage with you, and from that wall of humans. There's that. So that gig was bucket list. The Ringo thing was bucket list. I think that, and growing up in a funk band and a reggae band.
In your phase 4.
There's nothing, I attribute so much of my musicality and so much of my personality and so much of my approach musically and personally to situations and music and to those years with those boys, and playing that music and being in that sort of environment.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Low points. Tell me any low points. What were some low points that you've had to deal with, and how'd you get through them?
Definitely being a musician and trying to make a living. I'm not reinventing the wheel here for sure when I say that I have absolutely lived the ramen, Kraft dinner, mac and cheese days where food might have been an issue at one point, and I think one of the toughest kind of tests of character that I had to go through was typically in Toronto and probably many cities for music, just before Christmas, shit shuts down.
Yes.
And shit stays shut down until the spring.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Touring and clubs and all that shit. And just people spent all their money. And so from about January to April is always the lowest dip for me anyways, in work and getting paid. So at one point I remember I got to get a job. So right off the bat, you have to deal with your own integrity, your own ego, and you got to get over it super fast.
Yeah.
Which
only if you want to eat.
Right. I mean, and pay rent and, and support your passion. Mm-hmm. And I never thankfully, luckily I didn't start with an attitude where I had to battle my ego and I'm better than this. I never had that. Luckily, it didn't mean I didn't have to get, in the work trenches and knock it out. But I just remember working at a warehouse on the outskirts of Toronto, and the job I had was hand bombing.
Hand bombing? What is that?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what that is, Craig.
Hand bombing.
It is the art of loading an entire tractor trailer by hand. They call it hand bombing because you could drive 2 skids of whatever, boxes.
Yeah, pallets of shit. Yeah.
You can forklift 2 pallets. I don't know if anybody knows this, but you can get 2 pallets side by side in any tractor trailer neatly. Mm-hmm. A couple of inches on the side, in the middle, and at the edge, right?
Yeah.
And you can drive them in, and you can get 1 layer, okay? But imagine if you take all that shit off of every single pallet and by hand, you make little rows from the floor to the ceiling and all the way back until the door's shut. So
what were you loading? Good Lord, man.
So inside this factory were 25 tractor trailer bays inside the building. 25 diagonal bays that tractor trailers could come in and back in, and driver would run off wherever, and a forklift guy would drive up, drop a pallet outside the truck, and me and another guy, my best friend, with carpet cutters, would cut the plastic wrap and take, each box might have 3.6 liter jugs of antifreeze. Each box, 6 jugs of antifreeze. You build 1 row, you get about 4 up, then you have to actually start building steps because you have to climb up the actual shit that you're loading to get.
How long does it take you to load 1 trailer?
About half a day, about 4 hours to load.
That's amazing. That's only 4 hours, man. That must have been
and we did that 5-6 days a week, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Now, I forgot, you're forgetting one thing. I said January to April, right? It's freezing.
Oh, this was in Canada.
The trucks are inside, but they don't heat the warehouse the living room. You can see your breath. I just remember, at one point, you instantly get sick. The first 3 days, you get instant cold and flu. Your body is you're just kicked in the chest with cold, and you're sweating constantly and freezing. And you're weightlifting for 8 hours a day, every day.
Wow.
Some of that shit we had to load were plastic bags of plastic beads. So they were imagine bean bags. Each bean bag is 30, 40 pounds. Each bag is 30, 40 pounds. And you're having to stack these fucking things. Anyway, so my point is I worked, $10 an hour cash at the end of the week, 5-6 days a week. It got me through, it kept the wolf from the door.
Yeah, of course.
But definitely you question your life at that point. You start to question, like, Jesus, but what have I chosen? Like, I've chosen a career where I've clearly put my 10,000 hours in. If you put your 10K in medicine, in law, it's almost like, here's your certificate for a great life. Like, here's your job. Whereas with the arts, painting, music, poetry, I don't think you're not guaranteed anything. You're just, no, man, you got to do it for the love of doing it. But that's not to say that you don't question it. Like, at one point,
yeah, of course,
your friends are buying cars and condos, and you're just like, 28 years old, slugging shit, at 7 a.m. You're like, oh fuck, what have I done? Like, has this been the right decision?
Were you ever tempted to, I'm sure the answer is no. Were you ever tempted to say, man, maybe I need to do something else?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
This is the thing. You're done.
Yeah.
When music grabs you, like it's your art, it's your passion, but it definitely chose me. There was no fucking backing out of it.
Yeah, there's no plan really. B. That's pretty consistent with every single person I've spoke to. It's like, this is what I do, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well, good for you to get through that shit.
I think I have. I know you haven't asked me yet, and you probably weren't going to ask me if I have any like sort of major regret. Like, if I was to be able to do this over again. Yeah,
well, I typically would ask is there anything that
I do?
Any advice you would have given yourself that would? Yeah, what is that?
1,000% is, as a drummer, I would have fucking told myself to learn a melodic instrument.
What? Just because physically?
Because of everything, because of your musicality, and as a side guy, as you get older, you learn, or not even older, I shouldn't even say that. I think quickly now you learn that there's a lot of reward to be had by writing and being involved in the writing end of music. There's playing it and performing it and recording it, and then there's who wrote it. And I think that now I'm lucky. I'm able to be a part of a lot of those processes in my own way. Even though I don't play a melodic instrument, I sing a little bit, so I have sense of melody, and I played enough recordings now that I absolutely know my way around a good arrangement. So I can contribute. I just can't contribute the way I would love to if I had to fucking learn piano or guitar when I was 12.
Right.
Like, I just would tell myself and anybody else listening, yes, you can play that, you can be great at that one instrument, but round it out and go learn something else. And so if you're a guitar player, learn drums. You're already covered melodically. I wouldn't necessarily say you should know keys or anything, but some of the most talented people I know are multi-instrumentalists.
Well, I'm sure working with guys like Bradford and Dave Stewart and Rik Emmett, where you're seeing these guys, the writing component of what they're doing,
for sure,
it just opens it up a bit. Yeah.
They talk about chord progressions. I only know a little bit about that, but I want, it's another world. It's another learning curve that would be my advice to a brand new baby Randy.
Yeah, man. Well, that's righteous of you to tell people that, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
2 or 3 best concerts you've seen.
My mom snuck me in. I was underage. What was the name of the club in Toronto? The Edge. I think it was called the Edge, or the Hideaway. No, I think it was the Edge. And it was the Police. It was one of the first Police shows. And it sounds like, oh, my mom was like, cool, like she knew the Police. No, my mom had a friend, and my mom's friend said, your kid's a drummer. You need to bring him. I'm going to sneak him in. I know the owner.
Oh, that's cool.
And what's funny though, is unfortunately I was probably 17, 16, and my ears weren't trained as much at that point.
But what he was doing was totally also.
It was literally
nobody did that. It
was just, my eyes were just like.
Yeah.
And I remember him walking by. I remember Stewart Coleman walking by. I was sitting at this table trying to like not be noticed because I was underage. And I just remember thinking, fuck, is he tall? That was the one thing that I was like, wow, he's so good. Oh, fuck, that guy's tall. It just walked by me. And that was, I mean, so that's one of the, and the other, I think another concert in the last 10 years, I went and saw Peter Gabriel here at the Bull, and he did, you know, the whole soul album, like he did it in order.
That's,
you know,
pretty cool, man.
You know, with Manu, and it was fucking crazy. It's amazing. I mean, just a brilliant musician, writer, artist. And so that was amazing, you know. There's two off the top of my head. Yeah.
Favorite musicians. This is an unfair question because you've played with so many great people. Favorite musicians you've enjoyed playing with.
Yeah, it is. That's unfair. What the fuck? Yeah. I mean, for so many different reasons, there's dozens, to be honest with you. There, you know, obviously all of the people that we've talked about already for different reasons, and, you know, different energies, different music. I don't think I have I can tell you what my favorite, it's easier for me to tell you what my favorite music to play is, which never.
You said funk, right?
No, yeah, nobody ever guesses. I grew up in a rock city, so I get it. People aren't going to expect it coming out of me. And I've done some fun rock gigs, and so people don't think I'm going to say that. But when I get in my truck, I listen to the Bob Marley station and the funk station. Those are the two stations that I listen to.
That's cool, man.
I love all the music that I play, and I love the Police. I love Sting. I love Deep Purple. I love Zeppelin, you know, but I also love the Gap Band, the Dazz Band, Prince, Michael Jackson. Like, you know, I have a broad range. And again, it's probably because I played in fucking cover bands coming up that I had appreciation for Elton John ballad. You know,
well, also the groove in those in funk, R&B, not that it's not important in rock, but it's a bigger component, I think, of the music.
I think so. I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a little bit of what I bring to my approach to rock.
Yeah.
Because in the back of my head, I still picture people dancing.
Right. Yeah, but that's an important thing. You know, that's an important thing to keep people moving, and to be that timekeeper, you know, to be the fucking click track, you know. Seriously, if I'm hiring a drummer, man, that's the guy I want. I want that guy who's thinking about that. That's
probably what I mean. If I was to lay out a weakness of my playing, it's going to be my soloing side, my fusiony side, my chop side. I have, you know, I'm not fishing here.
Dude, let me tell you.
I have some things. I know I have a couple.
You can't tell me like your chop side.
But let's be fair. You know, I'm not even going to fucking name them, but we know who the ridiculous ninja musical, and I'm not talking like technical shit, because there's guys like that. But, you know, when I hear solos by, you know, guys like Vinny and Weckl, and, you know, like, literally there's a voice in my head that says nobody else should ever do a solo again in life. Like none of you. Like that's just me, because
if it makes you feel good, everybody.
I'm intimidated as fuck, and I'm in awe, and I'm like, I want to do that. I can't do that. Like, so I struggle with that side of my playing a lot. Luckily, 99.9% of my gigs my whole life, nobody's ever picked up the phone and says, "How's your soloing?" Thank God.
Because 99% of the gigs don't require that.
I realize that, but I'm still jealous. I'm still jealous.
If Jeff Beck calls you, if Jeff Beck calls you up, man, you got to worry. But like, you know,
I would say no.
But there's only, you know what I'm saying though. That's not like, you know, that's just not a requirement.
But it isn't in my wheelhouse, and I have to work at it. And it's an actual. It takes a lot of effort for me to do 4 bars of a drum solo. 4 bars only. It takes a lot for me to do that, because I'm overthinking it, and I'm like worried about a million things I'm sure that don't matter.
Right.
But because it's a language I don't speak regularly.
I totally get that.
It's fucking intimidating to me.
I totally get that, man.
But that's, I take solace in it. I love grooving, and that's, so I let, when someone rarely calls me up and says, I got a demo for you to play on, it's a reggae tune. I'm like, oh my God, I'll pay you. I swear to God, I would pay everybody. I'll give you money if you let me play your reggae song. That's how, because that's where I like to sit, and funk tunes and shit like that. Yeah.
Give me your top 3 Desert Island discs. No particular order, just for this minute. Obviously, that's
no order. Off the top of my head, Bob Marley Legend, any greatest hits by Michael Jackson, and I would grab one of the Sting albums with Vinny on it. Like I need something that has always inspired me, both musically, but then I like, my roots. I need funk, reggae, and then I need like the most brilliant playing ever in life. So that's gonna be my 3.
Fair enough. Tell me, is Toronto? Is it like fast paced where you come from? Like you talk as fast as a New Yorker guy. I'm usually at like this point in the interview. It's like 3 hours past. We're like an hour and a half. With always like New Yorkers are like, it's like, holy shit. I'm just realizing, wow, we're at the third section already.
Hyper motherfucker. I know that. I should.
No, that's great.
Paper here and say talk slower.
No,
I see this
let me
shit
tell
back
you,
and I'm like, oh my God.
No. It's great. I just realized it because it's funny. I was like that for so much of my life, and I don't know why I know I slowed down. I read something one time, and it bothered me. It said people who talk fast. I'm not saying this is you. This was me.
It's true. What you're about to say is true.
No, it's not. But listen, it said people who talk fast are insecure, and they're trying to prove what they know. And for me at that time in my life, when I read that, I was like, I think there's a component of this that's true. And I need to be more mature and give not surrender so much of my power to what I think other people are thinking. And I mean, like, it's nuts, right? And then just like try to figure out how to be comfortable. And it was like the start of, you're always trying to grow, and I'm always trying to be a better person and like, whatever. But I think that was a start of a period of good, like maturity for me. But I remember doing that. And then
it's not going to happen for me.
No, I'm just saying me, not you. It was just, I was so glad.
But isn't that funny?
I was so glad I got that
message. I have no idea how many times I've had to argue my way out of, no, I don't do blow. No, I'm not on uppers. I'm not even drinking caffeine right now.
I know you're drinking water. But energy wise, I love it. That's the energy I like.
This is
it's just perfect for me.
Full on natural.
This is perfect. I'd rather have 100 guys to talk to like you, because you're giving me something, man. I'm like, I know where we're at here, man. I know, but I think the worst is like when like it's the opposite, and I'm like, I want to shove a fucking cattle prod on somebody, like, come on, man. Show
not a problem
emotion.
Here.
I know,
not an issue. You talk about. I know you sometimes ask your guests about things that maybe people don't know about them. And one of them relates directly to how hyper I am and how unnatural this statement is, but I've never tasted coffee.
Really? You've never had coffee?
In my life. I don't like the smell of it. I can't stand the smell of coffee. It's
okay.
Really.
That's interesting.
I don't, going into a Starbucks is painful for me.
What do you ever drink hot? Do you drink tea or anything like that?
I love tea, and I don't mind caffeine. I don't drink it a lot, but if I'm tired and I need caffeine, tea is where I'll go for that.
Right.
But just, I've never been a coffee guy, which
interesting.
Most people are like that. I don't believe you. I don't.
No, I totally, you know what? No, that one thing is if you have high energy, that has nothing to do with, if you can't get the caffeine can't do, you'd have to have like a fucking 3 gallons of caffeine to have,
all those side effects on painkillers where it's like, don't operate heavy machinery, it may make you drowsy. Yeah. don't get any of that. I never get tired from a medicine that says that everybody else, like allergy medicine.
Right.
People go, oh, no, I can't take just knocks me out. I'm like, I'm on them right now. What part of, when do I feel that? I never, so I'm just hyper. Yeah. And
that's good.
The other thing the oddity.
Never had caffeine.
So
That's
never had coffee. Oh yeah. And a lot of people don't know is I have, on my right foot, this is webbed.
Really? I mean, your mom and dad were not brother and sister.
no, but just an awful thing to laugh at. They were first cousins, though. No.
Oh my God.
I'm almost positive my mom has the same genetic defect.
Oh, that's
my mom's toes. But yeah, I have webbed toes, like this foot all the way webbed and this foot half up to here.
Hey man,
so
if there's any music swim teams out, that's it, man.
Yeah,
you're the guy.
I was the guy, man.
That's hilarious, man.
I mean, I pushed to the left a little bit because the right foot is more webbed, but But
oh my God, fun fact.
But
fun fact. Oh my God. So what'd you think of Randy Cooke? I mean, the guy, the guy with the web feet.
Yeah. Oh, can I tell you quickly? There's a
you
dude.
Can say whatever you want.
Amazing keyboard player. His nickname is Toad. He's a Toronto-based guy, but toured with a big US rock act out here for a bunch of years. And I remember back in the day, he worked at a music store, Steve's Music down Queen Street, Toronto, big music store. And he's behind the counter. And one day I've been in that store a million times and he's a buddy. He's like, all right, man, have a good day. Here are your drum heads. I go, hey, Toad, why they call you Toad? What? Toad's a weird name. And it's the summertime. And I don't know, he's wearing flip-flops. He takes his flip-flop, he puts his foot up onto the glass counter. He gets his foot up on the counter and the same two toes are webbed. And I went, no fucking way. And I ripped my shoe off and put my foot up on the counter. And
God, your spiritual brother.
We bonded over deformities and abnormalities.
Wow. That's why, since you're talking about toes, man, I have
let's talk about toes.
Let me just say that I have one story. Like people always ask me like, what's your favorite interview? What's your least favorite interview? I don't, those are hard to answer, but I have one story that the one time, and it takes a lot to gross me out.
This is going to be gross. Whatever you're going to say is going to be
really gross. So
I'm not squeamish. Bring it. Let's go.
We're doing an interview and the guy's, he's on a laptop. So he's looking down on a table. The laptop's facing up at him.
Fuck.
And while he's there, he puts his feet up, right? And we're talking, and honestly, man, I mean, I'm from the Bronx. Really, nothing makes me like. I remember growing up in New York City, went down and watching people like shit in the street back in the 70s.
Yeah, sure. Are you kidding?
Whatever. Yeah.
Nothing. Ain't nothing.
So he picks his feet up and he starts going at his large toenail while we're talking. And in the back of my mind, I'm starting to see what's going to happen. And I'm like, man, please don't do this.
Don't.
And he finishes, I guess, ripping his toenail off. and while we're talking, right, he holds the toenail up like it's like, and he's looking at it. And I said, man, I know exactly what he's going to do with it. Please don't. Please.
I do not know I thought I knew where this is going. I maybe don't know where this is going.
Please don't. And he's looking at it like, man, this looks delicious.
Oh, fuck.
And he puts it in his mouth.
Oh my God. Jeez.
And he's sucking on it like, like when you have a pistachio nut and you break it open in your teeth and you have like
wrong. That is so wrong.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
I thought so. It was kind of, I was like, it's
disgusting.
And I said to myself,
are you being punked? You were fucking being punked. There's
no
way
no. And I said to my, we didn't do video back then. I wish we had. And I said to myself, Craig, why don't you say something to him? Like how gross that is. And I said, maybe that really didn't happen. I had this whole like internal dialogue because like I couldn't believe like that's what he was doing on a fucking interview, you know? And I got off the phone. I told my wife, I said, "You're not going to believe this." And she was like really repulsed because, you know, but anyway, well,
I'm not wearing pants, so you can't tell. But I'm just like, I only do interviews bottomless. Dude, so
nobody wears pants on my show. I'll tell you right now. Why would you?
You're gonna dirty the laundry for this?
For this? Are you out of your mind?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God. Yeah. So I never shared. That's the first time I've shared that story.
I like that. Wow.
Anyway, and but I thought like afterwards, I thought of like maybe like sending him a box of toenails or something, like for the holidays
or sunflower seeds, like
alternative.
Hey, maybe
hey man, here's your plan B for next time.
Kind of close, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. It was.
I like that you shared that though. Thank you. I like that.
Hey man, you're in the circle.
Let's do it. I'm on the inner circle
you're
now.
You're in the circle of trust.
Yeah. We're talking web toes and eating toes. Jesus.
Yeah, that was like, wow. Anyway, so how do I get over that one? All right. Yeah, let's
segue from that.
Segue from there. And this is like this is like a spiritual question.
Great.
Tell me one or two things you've done or one or two changes you made, Randy, that have had the biggest impact on you. Could be like whatever you want, personal growth, professionally, spiritually, anything that was important to you that changed your life.
I think two things. One was a literal physical thing, and one was a personality thing or a life change thing. I think one of probably the most pivotal things that changed my life was moving to a new country. I know that it seems like, wow, you know, you share a border. It's like you could just drive to, which you can, it's true. But it's not as easy as you think to go and leave your family and friends and security and gigs and comfort level and all of that stuff to move to a new country where you have to apply for a work visa and pay and save money and sell gear to pay for a lawyer to maybe get a visa. By the way, you're never guaranteed getting a visa, even if you pay a lawyer to submit your application.
Sure.
Then you arrive, literally, you're here. You have a phone, a car, and a drum kit, and no gigs. I didn't have anything waiting for me. I didn't have the promise of a session or one gig. I had people that I knew, of course, already Canadian friends that had moved here.
Okay. What prompted you to move here?
It was two things. Originally a Rik Emmett gig.
Okay.
Rik brought us to California and we hubbed out of LA and we did like, you know, Redondo Beach and we did the Canyon Club and all these gigs. I'll never forget it. I mean, if that was maybe 1991, I met Wilfredo Reyes Jr. at the time. He was playing for Santana. Like, not only was I here during Canadian winter, so it was warm, which completely floored me. I just didn't know how amazing it was not to shovel your way out of your driveway every morning.
Yeah.
But, you know, meeting drumming heroes, there's a guy having wings at the bar while you're sound checking. I mean, Wilfredo was just in this club while I was sound checking with Rik Emmett, and he came up and introduced himself, and we've been good friends ever since. I mean,
that's really nice.
He just extended, literally, I mean, to go further, while I was here for the week I was here, he invited me for dinner to his home.
Wow, that's
and I went.
Class act.
Like, who does that? Like, that just doesn't happen. So anyways, moving was hard though. I mean, it was like, so the reason I wanted to move was.
Well, especially you, man, you're an only child.
Yeah.
You got your folks there, your whole community, your bands.
Yeah. You know, so.
And so you would just, when you came out here, you just fell in love with it and you just said, I got to do this, or? Well,
the second side of the coin to wanting to really make that decision about paying a visa lawyer, an immigration lawyer, was another brilliant writer, singer, musician, Lisa Del Bello in Toronto, who had a solo career, who actually, Lisa originally lived in LA. She was from Toronto, moved to LA, had a great career out here, and then moved back to Toronto and still has a great career there. She brought me out for a week or two of sessions. She was like, I'm working with an artist in LA. I think I can get the budget, if you're interested, to fly you out. And, you'd have to stay maybe, in a spare room of one of the producers I know, Jay Gruska, who's these people, I'm a stranger. And they're like, yeah, of course. Yeah. You're a session drummer. Yeah. He can stay in my guest room. Like, okay.
Right.
Like, it's how beautiful these people are. And Jay Gruska.
And a lot of that is your attitude about it. Man, honestly, you come from a position of gratitude, and that makes a huge difference in how people receive you.
But I am. That's just sincere. I clearly am grateful for how they opened up their homes and their lives and their, so Lisa brought me out here to play on basically one artist's demos. But while I was here, I was able to get I got a jingle, and I got a couple of other tiny things. And she was like, you're stupid. You should be here. You need to be here. And I was like, I know I need to be here. I love it. And back in Toronto after LA, we were recording at Phase One Studios in Toronto on her project. And she's like, turns to me and says, what are you doing? Like, you need to get out of here.
That was really cool. That's really supportive.
Not that Toronto's not a beautiful place to create music and has an amazing music scene. We have some of the most amazing artists have come out of Toronto, Canada, and out of Canada. Absolutely. But you are up against the sheer numbers. We're 1/10 the population. So, we might be 1/10 the opportunity. And I wasn't in a band. So at that point, so I'm just trying to climb a ladder. And she's like, I think you're going to climb a better ladder there. And so that really prompted me. She really helped inspire me and support my decision to saving money up like $5,000 the first time. It was ridiculous. Crazy amounts of money. You
couldn't just get married to somebody here back then?
That was happening, but I wasn't going to go down that route. Like,
always take the hard choice. Always take the hard. Yeah. So that is a very big thing, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think
I think that's a big thing. And what was the second thing? You said one was personality, one was the move. I
think personal, and this happened probably in the last decade. But, we've heard about people talking about this concept here and there, but it's the concept of negativity and non-support and toxicity. And what I mean by that is in the last decade, I think I've really started to realize and hone in on who in my life offers support and who in my life is in my corner, so to speak. And I'm just generalizing, but other sort of clinical terms are like, remove the toxicity in your life and remove the negativity. But really, we all have those people or those situations. It could be a job, or it could be a person that when you're there or you're near them or you're doing that job or you're talking to that person, you just don't feel as good about yourself, where you feel like you're being weighted down a little bit, or you're being held
vampires, back. Man.
So a big change for me has been trimming the fat, and really it's a hard decision to do. It's hard because you have to confront sometimes that person or that job, and you literally have to take the leap and go, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not, so that's something that I find myself being a little pickier, a little choosier as to who's in the inner circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if there's some entity in your life, some kind of, whatever the word is, some kind of thing that's, affecting you in your life that isn't, it's just not making you feel good about anything, about your trajectory, about yourself, then instead of trying to fix it and repair, that's what we do our whole lives. We try and make it work. And there's an element to navigating situations and personalities and jobs. And, you know, you have a job that you hate, you need to do it. You got to pay a rent. So you have to make those sacrifices and learn how to socially deal with that. But at one point, the question is, what now? Where has life taken you now? I think that I share in this concept with many people that have gone, you know what? Yeah. A couple of years ago, I quit, I got out. I know it was paying me a lot of money. Fuck it. I'm going to carve wood now. I don't care. I don't care about it. It makes me happy. And on the same level, it's like, yeah, I used to hang out with that group of people, or I used to be pals with them. I'm done. You know, they're not in my corner. So that's
what was the trigger for you to start doing that? If you're comfortable, and if you're not, that's totally...
I think it wasn't a overnight or like a light switch trigger. It wasn't like that at all. It's a slow nagging. It's a slow thing where eventually you're walking around, you're going, why am I in a shitty mood right now?
Yeah.
And I'm always happy.
Yeah.
You know me. Yeah. Like, why do I feel depressed or negative? And you start to connect the dots. Oh, that conversation I had yesterday, or the way that person made me feel, or this band. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's something you said yes to, and you're like, oh shit, man, I'm in the wrong place. I think the best, like, you hear this in the job world where people say, you know, maybe a boss is firing somebody or somebody's quitting a job, and they go, you know, I feel like this job is not the best fit for me. And I think that phrase is genius because it can apply to people too.
Yeah, totally.
Because some people just aren't good fits, like, you know, and it doesn't matter whatever, you know, that means to you personally, for whatever reasons that fit isn't good. Then I think instead of trying to tailor it and fix it and rip it apart and stitch it back together over and over again, at one point you just got to go, I'm going to get another hoodie.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this one on, you know.
I'm really happy you did that. And I got to tell you, the thing I was looking forward to talking with you, just sincerely, every interaction I had with you, whether it was a text, an email exchange, or a phone call, you were so positive, and it was like a burst of this energy. And that, I love being around people like that, because that makes me.
And so do I.
Yeah.
And I think we all find each other, don't we? We find each other.
Yeah.
You meet people and you go, there's a keeper. This one is going to be out here. And you have levels of inner circle. And it's, you know, people joke about it, like Seinfeld episode on who's your 10 speed dials. But truly, as we, you know, go on our journey, you really do have to hone in on the situations and the people that make you the happiest, and you can bring that to them too. And you never have to think about it. I don't think about being supportive for you or positive for you, because that's just the way, and you are to me. So it just it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If it's not, and you know, it's funny, if I have to, that is probably the number one joy that my wife has brought to me for 28 years. Yeah. I can honestly say she has insanely somehow always given me that, man. And I really, I've never taken it for granted, not 1 minute. And I'm very
Isn't it
lucky.
interesting now that we live in a completely social media world? I mean, we're doing this podcast now. This is all about people being from all over the planet, being able to tune in and watch and get a sneak peek and a little peek into our lives. And social media has been so amazing for so many things. But I always notice, I can't not see, it's like a fucking traffic accident, that you slow down, you don't want to look.
Right. Social
media has given people a reason and a voice to just be negative sometimes. And you know, that it's the oldest saying in the book. If you don't have anything nice to say about somebody, just Just don't. Like,
yeah.
What are you bringing to the world with that? And with social media now, you know, we've all experienced in one way or another, or seen it, where, you know, there's even terms like, oh, you're getting flamed, or you know, it's like, if you don't like a video or a band or an actor or a movie, don't watch it. Turn it off.
The fucking channel.
The fact that you took the effort to log in, create an account under an anonymous, usually an anonymous name, and go, this is shit. Like, I really think there's no need for that. And on any level, you know, I think between me and you, we can go, you know, went to this bar and the bartender was a complete grump. Sure, we could have that, but I'm not going to advertise that. I'm not going to go on that bartender's fucking Instagram and tell him what a dick he is. Like, I just don't see the value in that, you know. And that goes
with you on that.
That goes for everybody's entitled to an opinion, but when
it doesn't mean you got to share it.
Well, that's the thing. When an artist puts out a song and says, here's my new song. It's like my baby. Here's my new song. I hope you like it. That's not an invitation to tell me how much you hate it. It's not what I'm asking. And I'm not even a singer, but I can't imagine the world you're in now, where you're like, this is what I worked on for the last month. Cool, right? And I think it's shit. It's like, who asked? Like, there's no point in that. You can think it's shit. It's cool if you don't like something and you think it's complete dog crap. So keep it to yourself then. No one's soliciting your opinion. That's, you know, I don't want to end on it, you know.
No, man, I agree. I agree with you. I don't understand
these are the things I wish
stay away from it. I don't get it. I mean, what cracks me up is like, you actually need a lot of balls to do that from an audacity standpoint. Like,
or not if you're anonymous, which is most of those accounts.
But people like, I mean, to think, I guess what from that standpoint, I mean, like, you have to be pretty presumptuous to think someone really cares what your fucking opinion is. And I would never opine on something like that either way. Or let's hey, here's what I had for dinner. I just kind of assume nobody gives a shit what I'm eating for dinner, because pretty much I don't even care what I'm eating for dinner, you know? And it's a really weird, and I think it's because like people just need, I think there's a lot of lonely people out there, man. And the, you know, they need,
but they can use, this is the beautiful part about life as we live it now, is that you can actually meet interesting people and commune, where you could never do that back in the day. But now to use this platform as some sort of voice on any level, whether it's the arts, politics, like I personally, I just tend to shy away from engaging in that kind of negativity. I think that there's enough of it there. We all know what it is, you know, but I just feel bad. I think that I wish that there would be less flaming when it comes to the arts, because I really think that there's the arts is so subjective. It doesn't matter what you say. You know, you like Zeppelin, I like Prince. You like country, I like classical. It's not good. It's not better than the other. It's apples and oranges every time. So for someone to pipe in on I don't think this art isn't very good. It's like, sure it is. Maybe not to you, but to tell that person and to write it so they read it and their sister reads it and their kids read it. And I just think that it's not something that we're going to get away from. Obviously, I'm not.
I agree.
I don't want to, but I do lament that. I do. Makes me sad a little bit that people just aren't generally more supportive and positive on every level of life. You know.
I think part of it is also, and I never knew as an outsider until I started this show and started talking to all the fucking amazingly cool musicians like you that I've had the opportunity to talk with. I never had any idea how difficult it was to make a record. Oh, yeah. Now that I know, if I listened to something that I hated, I would just say, man, that's a job well done. Even if I thought it was horrific, just because the effort that takes, that's courage, man.
Oh, for sure.
That's courage to put something out there like that.
And you realize how much how many decisions were made along the, like, for something that you go, you know, they played this chord progression, or the drummer went to a crash ride at the section. You have no idea how many times, like how long and arduous and laborious the process was to get to that decision, because some people literally care so much that sometimes to their detriment, but I mean, it doesn't matter. There's no rules, and they want the decision process to be about every single decision in their art, how that looked. And you know, we know this by you and I, before we go out to go grocery shopping, I just throw on whatever the shit. I don't care. Right. But there are some people that care. They actually, you don't know that they took 15 minutes and tried on 4 different things. And imagine, that's just going to the grocery store. Imagine now you're going to put out a record that forever is permanent. You can't
there's
change
hundreds of thousands of moving parts and decisions maybe.
And the beautiful part about the arts and music and all that is that those are just photographs in time. And we get to go, holy shit, that day, that week, that month, they made this music. Holy shit. Like whatever process. And it's great. These podcasts actually let you in on a little bit of the journey from, it wasn't just like,
because the end user just pushes a button. So there's no actual concept of like what's going on, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
What do you like most about yourself?
I think probably my sense of humor, my ability to not take too much of anything too seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. That's childhood memory.
Wow. I have a lot. I mean, my parents used to take me camping a lot. I think that, you know, I know that my dad used to let me go off by myself in the woods, and he'd say, you know, you can go exploring. He never told me he was following me.
Oh, that is so cool.
So he wanted me to feel like I was this exploring adventure, but he's fucking hiding behind trees, you know, and I'm picking up sticks and poking things and looking up and running around. He's making sure I'm not lost. We're camping. We can't go there. I'm going to run into a highway at some point. But he would, you know, he told me that, you know, I didn't let you go alone.
What a nice, is your dad still around?
No, I lost him to the big sea years back.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
What a nice story, man.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing. That is very nice, man.
I will tell you one more thing about my dad that I loved. It kind of ties into if you don't have anything nice to say about something or someone, don't say it at all. But he, as a young hyper kid, you know, angst, you know, I was probably 12, maybe 11, 12. And he was in the other room and he heard me mouthing off to my mom. You know, I was getting all big for my britches. I was just mouthing off, you know, talking back. He calls him in. Hey, come here. I walk in kind of, you know, in a huff. He goes, I just heard you. I heard you talking to your mom there. He goes, just looks at me and he goes, you think you can talk to your mom like that? Okay, maybe. But that's my wife. You never talk to my wife like that. She's not just your mom. She's my wife. And I had no concept that I only saw linear, as we all do as kids. Like, that's my mom. She's mine. He taught me, no. She's not just yours. She's mine too. And you're not being nice to her. You're not being nice to someone that cares that I care about.
I care about. Yeah.
And I was just like, you know, stunned at that concept as a kid.
That sounds like a pretty
great
cool
life
guy.
lesson.
Yeah. Really cool. That's awesome, man. What kind of work did your dad do?
My mom and my dad worked for the Bank of Nova Scotia in Toronto, Canada. My dad drove at one point. He just had, you know, different jobs throughout his life. At one point, he was a chauffeur, a limo driver for one of the heads of the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember getting dropped off kindergarten or grade 1
in a limo.
In a stretch. And I remember thinking, some of the kids thinking like, holy shit,
this guy's loaded.
It was like crazy. Yeah. My mom worked at the bank. She was on like the 5th floor. She was a switchboard operator.
Right. Yeah. That's so funny.
She was like on the, taking
that's
calls.
Great. Yeah. Your dad sounds like a lot of common sense there, man.
Totally.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Happiest moment or happiest time in your life?
I don't think
when you finish this interview.
Yeah. When I finally get to pee, I think that, you know what? I think it's when I'm on stage performing. I really do. I think that, like, and I share this, and I know that it's super common to say, but it's funny. I've talked to dozens and dozens of friends and musicians, and who've said, it's funny, I had the worst flu, I'd smashed up my knee, but for the 45 minutes I was on stage, didn't feel a thing. You would never have known it. Someone says, in between songs, I was throwing up in a bucket, but they're like out there performing and doing their thing. And I realized, I get it. I get that whatever that is for you, that is when you're in your zone, that's when you're zenning out personally. You know what I mean?
Any word on gigs coming up for the?
Yeah, I have a very socially safe gig in Utah coming up where I'm driving. It's with Colby Calais, and it's in an outdoor.
She's a great artist, man.
Yeah, she's so good.
Who's playing guitar on that?
Justin Young and Jaco Caraco. His name rhymes.
Yeah, I've heard of that guy.
So cool.
Yeah.
He plays right now. I think he's got the Kelly Clarkson gig on her TV show. He plays for Miley Cyrus. He's a good guy.
Cool. And when is that coming up?
That is the last in a week and a half. Last Friday of this month.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I'm so happy for you. You must be freaking excited as hell.
It'll be the first.
Wow.
Since the pandemic.
That's awesome, man. I hope it goes great. That's really good to hear.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
Who's had the biggest influence on you, musically and also personally?
Yeah, it's broken record time.
Dad.
It's back to my dad. Yeah. I mean, truly, he's the reason, and he, a lot of life lessons and a lot of music life lessons. I remember when I was taking private lessons from my first teacher. And I remember telling him about how much I loved him. And I remember him saying, I thought he would be like, oh, that's amazing. Of course, he's always supportive. But I remember him saying like, yeah, but you're studying a lot. You go do it. Go start playing. I was like, yeah, no. He's like, no. Don't be one of those guys that all day, every day, just practice. Go and play with people. That's going to be lessons that you can't get from your drum teacher.
Wow.
Go and play with musicians. And he knew, he played messed around with jazz and he was a marching drummer, but he just knew that the bridge between practice and practicality, he knew how important the other side was. And as soon as I could get and throw myself into that, the better it would be for me as a compliment. I think the practicality is actually a bigger part of the pie chart. It should be.
Yeah.
I think you play differently. You can practice for 8 hours. The minute you get on stage and people are staring at you and clapping, shit happens.
Yeah.
Different things happen to you physically, mentally. That's a different platform to which you need to grow and learn and fuck up. And you need to go through that school. And so he was just, early on was like, okay,
that's
great that you're taking lessons. Go play.
Man, you had a great dad. Really happy for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
You have any interests or hobbies outside of music?
Only 2.
Toenails?
Chewing on my toenails. No, true story. It's so common because of the pandemic, everybody's saying the same thing, and they are. You can't get to anybody's Instagram account without seeing the food that they cook that day. So yeah, I'm cooking a lot more and having fun doing that. And one of my little unknown hobbies is Call of Duty. I'm a little bit of a closet gamer. I don't play any other game, but I do love the occasional sniper rifle in a game. It's super fun. And I play with musicians. I only play.
Oh, that's cool. So you got a bunch
and it's
of
so
buddies
fun. So yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Favorite place you traveled?
That is a specific question and gets a broad answer. I loved Italy, and I love the UK and parts of Asia, but I also super love just lying on a beach in Jamaica. So half of me loves warm climate, tropical sort of places. And then of course I love exploring. I love going on hikes and stuff like that. And you know,
are you active? You're pretty active, right? I mean, you must be, because you got
as much as I can be. Yeah. You know, I'm not as much as I want to be, but in the past, yeah.
I mean, you have a lot of energy. You're in great shape. You look great.
I
mean, you know,
most of the trips, like if there's days off, I'm not sitting in the hotel room. We're going to go. We're going to go exploring and walking around and fucking hike for 4 hours and kill myself. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, man. All right, 2 more questions, man. I'm sad this is coming to the end, man. You're just like
rounding third base.
I know, man. I just like, I've enjoyed talking to you so much.
Me too.
Funniest thing that's happened to you on stage or in the studio?
The stage one is easy. I was playing with my funk band in Toronto at a Toronto nightclub, packed Friday night, maybe Saturday night. And there I was, all, as you said, you know, I move a lot. I'm pretty animated when I play. And somehow I twisted my neck. I whipped my head to the side, and I literally gave myself a chiropractic.
Oh.
But what happened was I literally temporarily paralyzed myself. I fell backwards off.
Oh my God, that you must have been in so much pain. I cannot.
I was in so much pain, but I was so embarrassed. So the band's playing, they look behind me. And of course, moments later, you shake it off and you get back. But I twisted my own head and neck. It twisted my body right off the drum, right off the stage.
God, that sounds so painful, man.
No bueno. Way more embarrassing than anything. Wow. That's for sure. Yeah.
And last question, toughest decision you've had to make or most difficult thing you've had to do?
We covered this, and I'm going to come back to it because I think that people take it for granted, but I do want to say that it was moving. It was moving, driving by myself to a new country and not with the visa was 3 years, right? You pay for a visa, you get the visa. It has a time limit. And knowing that, going into it, literally the clock starts. In 3 years, if I can't pay my own rent, I'm gonna go home with my tail between my legs. You have to accept that. You have to accept the unknown. You have to, you had to go with a bit of money saved because there's no gigs, no work, no sessions, nothing, and hope that it just works out. So that qualifies as probably the most difficult and scariest decision I've made. Mm-hmm. It's for some that had things waiting for them, a gig, a band, whatever, amazing. But that just wasn't my experience.
Yeah.
So for me, that's been the toughest thing, And I'll tell you, in the middle of that first 3 years, about midway through, it was looking rough.
Wow.
I was at one point running out of my savings, and there were going to be, if I didn't get a session or a gig in the next, say, 60 days, on day 61, I don't think I was going to be able to pay rent. So it got close.
And how old were you at the time?
I moved here 17 years ago. So I was 40.
Wow. Yeah.
Late bloomer. I got drums at 15 and didn't come here to 40, So if I was to be reincarnated, I would out of high school or out of college, I would have went straight here.
Yeah. Wow.
Or New York.
That's even more intimidating, I think, when you're 40, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And leaving the security of, you know, a little bit of a career. I got some money coming in.
Yeah.
I got,
a good career.
So yeah, just putting that in the rearview mirror is a very scary thing for sure.
All right. I got to ask you another question just because I want to. No, I did say you're just so cool.
Go ahead.
Most important lesson that life has taught you.
I think that the most important lesson is always going to be you don't get a guarantee of days on the planet. And I know we've touched on this in other areas of our conversation, but and again, you hear it all the time from other people. Oh, you know, chairs, you know, every day. People don't do it though. We all of us, me included, we take it for granted. We just take you're going to be here tomorrow, right? I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't know that.
Right.
I don't know that.
Right.
So it's not that we should ever go through life worrying or, you know, fearing the unknown, but it's that non-guarantee that should at least make us go, yeah, like enjoy the things that you're doing and the people that you're with and the trajectory that you're on, because you just don't know. And this is a privilege, you know, to be here, to be born and live. And now we're humans, and holy shit, look, we get to eat food and get on an airplane and do shit that, like, you know, even some people, lots of them, don't get to do. And this is not something to be taken lightly, I think, you know. I
agree with you, man.
Yeah. But we face enough battles, even in our first world problems here in North America, you know. It's just a myriad of possibilities and potential things that can not go so super great. So you better make use of the time that you have well, and you know, surround yourself with people that love you and support you, and then do things that you love. Sometimes easier said than done, but that's my life lesson. That's for sure. You know, I live by it.
That's a great way to end this. I wrote this down. What you said: enjoy the things you're doing and the people you're with. Hey, man, I can't thank you enough. You're like such a cool dude.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, I knew you were gonna. I knew this was.
It's mutual. It's mutual.
This was gonna be so much. You're like, you know what, man? I just like people who are fucking real. It's like, you know, seriously. All right, so let me tell you where to find Randy. First of all, if you are in Utah, was it 3 weeks?
Not even week and a half.
Okay, well, we won't be able to see it, but you're playing with Colby Calais then now.
I am. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you're anywhere Colby's playing, man, come out and see Randy. Say hello to him. He's an awesome guy. This guy's got the best energy you'll ever find. Also on online, Randy Cooke on Instagram, Randy Cooke with an E, Cooke. He has a YouTube channel, Randy Cooke. And also, man, tell me about this new band you have. There's another, I would love you to follow him on Instagram, subscribe to his YouTube channel. And also he's got a band project with 3 guys out of Russia that he's working with called Red Lad, Redlad. So please subscribe to their YouTube channel. How did that come about?
You know what? I was just hired originally as a session guy on their session by the producer, and we had a great time. We kept in touch. They went back to Moscow, and a year later, they were like going to come back to LA and you know, do another session. And I was like, man, I really like the songs that we did record, and these next ones are really amazing. And they're like, yeah. Maybe we should be a band. Like, we should, like, want to be a band? Want to be part of us? Want to be part of the writing? I'm like, yes, 1,000%. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
I do. So we just and so they still are in Moscow, and we have regular FaceTime meetings, and you know, they come to LA once a year, except for pandemic year.
Yeah.
And we work on new stuff. We do, you know, live filming and, you know, all the same things that DIY artists do, and getting stuff
That's
off
cool.
the ground. Yeah, it's amazing.
What kind of music?
Yeah, guys, just pop rock. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, really good. It's really good.
Hey, so support Red Lad, Redlad. Sign up on their YouTube channel. Follow them. Cops and Biscuits is the song, correct?
Cups
Cups and biscuits. Sorry.
Cups and biscuits.
Cups and yeah. I'm like, you said you started singing. Are you singing on there?
I'm not singing. I sing live with them. I did sing on the later batch of recordings, and I sing a lot on gigs. Like I sing.
Where can we see you singing, man? You're a super talented guy. I would love to hear you sing.
Background vocalist and so background vocal shit. Yeah.
Awesome. Any plans on coming east, man? Is she have any dates east? I would love to hang out with you, man.
Oh my God. We
will. Some sushi or whatever.
It'll happen for sure.
That would be
just nothing on. This is a dice toss year. Nobody knows what the hell's going to happen. So, but it'll pick up. It'll get back, and we will be hanging.
That would be great, man. I really like that. Anything else that I could promote for you, or do you do tracks? If somebody wants to hire you, do you have a studio to do tracks?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something that I do on the regular. Yeah. So just reach out, DM me on any. My email address is drumwhore@mac.com.
Drumwhore@mac.com, or you could just DM him on Instagram in case you don't remember to add you. But man, this guy is. Check him out. Look, Randy posts a lot of good stuff on Instagram. He's an amazing player, man. Okay, so tracks. What else? What else can we pitch? I want to help you, man. What else can we pitch? You want to get that hat. You want to sell those hats. Timing is. Hey, if you're a drummer and you want a timing is everything hat, let them know. Hey man, thank you for everything.
We covered it all. We're good.
We're
good.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being the kind of guy you are and being so straightforward and so much fun, because I really appreciate that.
I want to say thanks for you for all the same things. Mutual Admiration Society, for sure.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this, please share it on your social media channels. Thanks very much to Randy Cooke. Again, Instagram, Randy Cooke with an E. YouTube, Randy Cooke. Red Lad. Follow their YouTube channel and support all the music those guys are doing. Cups and Biscuits, and the next one will be called Cops and Biscuits. And most important, man, especially nowadays, remember that happiness is a choice, so choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar or your drums, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I am out. Randy, thank you a million times for everything, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Ciao.